Hey everybody, how y'all doing? Steve coming at you. Hope you're having a great day. I just wanted to touch base with you really quickly. This won't be a long video, but it's something that I've been noticing. I kind of touched on it in past videos, but it's really starting to get under my skin. And I don't know if you all know this or not, but God rest his soul, but George Floyd, the gentleman who was killed in Minneapolis during an arrest a couple of weeks ago, on Memorial Day. As a matter of fact, it was a couple of weeks ago yesterday. And I noticed something interesting. He had another memorial service yesterday in Houston. I think that makes the fourth or fifth one since he was killed. The police who did it deserve to be in jail. So we're going to set all that stuff aside, because this is not about any of that. This is about something a little bit different. What I've noticed is, as I said, in that time, he's had 4 or 5 memorial services. First one, big one, celebrities there, politicians there, kind of a who's who deal. People coming to, quote unquote, pay their respects. And it turned into a political rally because someone decided to invite the family, I guess, Al Sharpton. I would not have made that move. And it went from being about George Floyd and his life, because you never hear the bad stuff at a funeral, no matter what kind of person the person was while they were alive. You never hear the bad stuff. But it went from being about him and his life to a political rally and about getting out and voting and how they were going to take back the White House in 2020. I heard a young lady talking about this in the video this morning. A buddy of mine sent me. Shout out to Marcus. Thanks very much for the video. But initially what she was saying is that why was his funeral turned into a political rally and a call to get out the vote? And it's a great question. Why did that become a get out the vote effort, a man's funeral? It wasn't going to bring him back, and voting isn't going to stop racism. It turns out the primaries were right after, about a week after he was killed. They had a primary, and there was a huge get out the vote effort, and there's continuing to be a huge get out the vote effort. And all this stuff about kneeling and Black Lives Matter and all this other stuff and vote, 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 vote. I've been on this earth for over 50 years. I know I don't look it. Black don't crack. And yes, this is my hair, and no, I don't dye it. What's left of it, I like to keep it cut short. But I digress. For over 50 years, I've been on this earth, and there have been a lot of votes cast in that time, and we still have racism. So I don't understand how voting for this in this particular time is going to stop racism. We had a black president for 8 years, and we still had racism. In fact, race relations were better under the current president than they were under the previous president, who was black, right before this George Floyd incident took place. But 4 or 5 memorial services he's had since that time. And if I recall correctly, around late January, early February, we were told that there was this thing called a coronavirus, which you've hardly heard anyone talk about. Isn't that interesting? Hardly any mention of coronavirus or COVID-19 since Memorial Day. But if you had a family member or a friend that you care deeply for that has died from, the time we went through the lockdown up until about June 1st, and you weren't able to have a funeral, you weren't able to go, you weren't able to go to church, you weren't able to worship, you should be upset. Because we've had, like I said, numerous services for one man, people wearing masks, people not wearing masks, and you haven't heard one thing about people dying or the possibility of dying or catching it, or if you have heard something, they say, oh, we could see a spike in coronavirus or spike in COVID-19, but we were told by the same politicians and the same celebrities who told us to stay at home because it was our duty to stay at home or else we're going to kill people if we left the house, that it was our duty to get out and protest, it was our duty to get out and march, it was our duty to go to these events because racism is a bigger scourge than COVID-19. Now again, I've been around for over 50 years. I don't remember them locking down the world for racism. I don't remember there being a lockdown around the entire world for racism because it was more deadly than COVID-19, that everybody was going to die because of racism. Maybe I missed it. It maybe happened and I didn't get it. I didn't get the memo. So I hope you understand that the same politicians who are telling you couldn't leave your house because of a disease, because of a virus, and if you did leave your house, you were insensitive and you were going to kill your grandma, and you couldn't go to grandma or grandpa's funeral, your friend's funeral, because that would put more people at risk, and you couldn't go to church and worship because it was selfish to do so. Those same people are out in the streets marching. Those same people out in the streets protesting. Those same people are at these funerals and these memorial services. You have been played. We have all been played. Now, me, from the beginning, I always suspected this was a huge social experiment. I think the one person who probably is the most pissed about all of this stuff with George Floyd's death and memorial services and all the stuff that's taking place, the protests and the looting and the riots taking place since then is probably Dr. Fauci, because he was the main proponent of all this stay at home, no social distancing, wear masks, don't wear masks, all this other stuff we heard about why we shouldn't live our lives has totally been trashed, put by the wayside, put in the gutter because of recent events. So it's obvious, or it should be obvious to all of us by now, that we have been played. Now, if you choose to continue to believe this stuff, then that is what I would call willful ignorance. There's another name for that, but I'll just call it willful ignorance right now because it serves whatever potential mentality you have regarding this whole COVID-19 thing. But I am not going to be willfully ignorant. I am paying very close attention to what's taking place. And I can tell that we have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray. I've been saying it for a while now. But somebody needs to explain to me, if the disease could kill us, why aren't those same politicians who talked about how deadly this disease is, why aren't they worried? How come they're out and about marching and not social distancing and protesting? Now, I understand the issue is a big issue, but these are the same people who told us that if we didn't stay inside, we were going to die. Did that change? Does COVID-19 not attack protesters and rioters and looters? Are they immune from it? And only people who maybe go to church or want to go to a family funeral or want to have a get-together at a restaurant, they're the ones who are most likely to catch it and pass it and die? How does that work? If you guys understand the answer to this, please let me know. If you like what I'm saying, please leave a comment, give me a thumbs up, share the video. If you don't, feel free to leave that too. Thumbs down, leave a comment. I look forward to hearing from you. In the meantime, I hope you're having a great day. Y'all take care.